Hey guys, so just wanted to start the month off. Happy November, November the 1st today. So it's 10 a.m. We basically are moving pretty progressively in the markets at the moment. It's really nice. There's a lot of opportunity across the board. Yen pairs, especially. I've been looking at New Zealand yen. I mean, GBP yen was phenomenal. Uh, I think there's a lot of good opportunity across the board. Something I was unable to capitalize on because I was a bit blindsided. I think it does happen from time to time, but I was a bit blindsided by some different data. And I think what I was forecasting was something that I got kind of fixated with. So for that reason, I kind of just dismissed a potential good trade there. And I was blindsided. So by the time the trade played out, I kind of missed it and I realized, oh, okay, there was a little bit of key incremental data that I missed. So I think that's something of major importance. But I won't go over that today. Perhaps maybe in a later video today. Not too sure if I've got time, but I'm just going to kind of run through my watch list and yeah. So I'm going to start off with the DXY. So DXY is pretty much still moving progressively in this potential middle section. We did have some sort of commitment, but we have started to pull back now from sort of the feedback I've heard from some advanced traders. What they usually tend to say is that, the market tends to produce a second entry point. So for somebody who was tagged out of this, their psychology may be a little bit off, but somebody who missed out on it, their psychology is more so like, well, it's coming back to the area I would have entered before. So would I have left it on break even? How would I have got the best entry and so forth? So this could also be like an area of, if we're forming something, I could potentially get the next best entry because if we are looking at price of the DXY moving up further, then what we could potentially see is this come down to a key value area or retest a value area for us to potentially get into a good trade. So, these are the sort of zones I would have looked at. I would have looked at potentially this high over here and seen if it come back retested, sort of created something here and then rejected. Um, Perhaps maybe on the 4 hour it's a little bit better to form and look for the structure. And then, now that we've kind of broken that, probably just wait a little bit, but more so see if we can come back to this low. If we can come back to this low or even like this sort of area, we can just evaluate there. But obviously we're not taking any trades on the DXY. DXY is more so something that I'm just looking at for this sort of move. This middle section could correct even longer and actually might become a little bit more complex. So, there's a lot of variations on the table, but there's definitely an abundance of opportunity to get involved in if we do start moving up. So DXY is pretty simple. I am still looking at this potentially going up further just because this would look like a really nice middle section. However, if this does start dropping off and then creating some sort of continuation, by all means, I'll be looking at, the market changing. So have to remain quite neutral with this. There's a lot of different variations of things that can turn up, but DXY is looking pretty good. So yeah, just going to stay pretty patient with that one. Next one I'm going to be looking at is Euro AUD. So I'm not going to do the JP225. I don't think it's necessary at this moment in time. I only have one Japanese pair on board, and at the moment there isn't really an entry that I would be happy to entertain. So I'm just going to go to Euro AUD. So Euro AUD is actually as well something that I do like about this is there's a potential for this sort of middle section, which forms into this sort of messier flag. So what I do really want to see is can we move further to this expanding? Now, by all means, we can just sell off, and then this can just become a very messy top towards us pushing lower. By all means, that can be. It's not usually normal to see such a corrective move before we see a sell, but at the moment, the sort of the way the price is moving, I could assume that, if we are going to be moving rapidly in one direction, I would ideally want to be in the purchase side of things. However, because we're technically coming back into this sort of larger structure at the moment, could this just be like, yeah, there's just a few variations of things. So I think I would want to be extra patient with this. If I was going to be taking a trade on this, I would be looking for something a little bit more patient, even though I thought this could be shaping up. I'm not quite sure if it's something I want to get involved in at the moment, but strong push up, continuation, basically probably looking for some tight continuation around about here. But obviously it's not the cleanest, or even up here, some continuation, and then take that to the upside. But For the moment, I think Euro AUD is one to be quite patient with, and I think yeah, I'm just going to be extra patient with this particular pair because there's going to be some good trades, but if this does continue to go bullish and we don't get that corrective approach, or we just kind of impulse, then I think the longs are definitely on the table for me. I think, there's some volatility to come in this market. I think it's just a matter of just being patient. So, um, yeah, we are accumulating a lot of price at the moment. We are moving in this sort of messier, but you know, there is a middle section in here that I can kind of break in. So um, this could potentially be the move up. Right now, that yeah, definitely could have good eyes on this pair because we are coming back down to this low. Are we just basically sitting here before we go up further? That's something that I would have to evaluate, but it definitely looks like a good instrument to be involved. The next one I'm going to be looking at is Euro GBP. Euro GBP looks pretty nice. What I do like about it is, we, and it's funny because I considered actually taking an entry here, just because I had a, I don't know, I had like sort of intuition that we can just potentially just move off from here, but this wouldn't be the trade. I think we in time we're still coming back down. There was just a short term sort of purchase there. Would I have really wanted to take it? Probably not. I mean that's probably the reason why I didn't take it. Um, but I did just jot it on my chart. It was just like some sort of. Maybe it was just luck, I don't know. But so I was basically looking at price just rejecting around about here. Um, Obviously, looking at it now, price did, and I was pretty much going to purchase it right here, literally probably around about there. I was going to put about 22 pip stop loss, just because I thought price could just, as the way it was coming in with momentum at the time, I thought, okay, it's dropping, it might just spike here, tap into that, and then just push up. So but then I realized that the risk that I would be taking by taking in basically a falling knife, it wasn't a risk I wanted to take, so I just left it. This could be the form of continuation that I was looking for originally in my forecast. So, we didn't have we had a push up, then we came back down, but now we're just getting very corrective. And because of where we're sitting with that correction, it's not really the one I want to entertain because I would have ideally wanted a break below this before we go up further. But unfortunately, we have a near miss, which yes, did kind of feel this particularly, but I would want to see a break below that, create a new low before we push further. However, sometimes we don't get that. We might actually just move up further before we come back down, create something larger, and then break that. There's quite a few things on the table. So Euro's definitely got a lot of characteristics at the moment. I think definitely this has potential to go further down. I think with this corrective leg, it definitely needs to have a pullback. And I think by it having that pullback before this near miss might be an indication that we'll create something a little bit larger, or we might just come back and test it and then go back up. Or if we do create something larger, we might create enough momentum in there to actually push through this and then start going to some new lows. So quite a few things that I'm kind of looking at. But Euro GBP, quite simple. I mean, I'm looking for it to still, even though that we have this sort of continuation that I did forecast, it's not the one I want to get involved in. I want to get in one up here, or ideally the push away from here and a small flags in here. Those are the ones that I really want to get involved in. However, with this evolving now, it just gets a little bit more complex. And I think, we just have to be a little bit more in our management game and yeah, just kind of just monitor price for what price is. But really and truly, this is the trend. Trend has been broken, but we broke it correctively. And we're sitting here. So if we accumulate this price, push up a little bit, create another flag, I may be entertaining another flag as long as we can get some clear structure in there. But eyes on the 4 hour chart for me, and yeah, it's just got to monitor that quite carefully. So that's your GBP. I do feel a little bit tired this morning. Actually, I was up watching Monday market breakdown. And yeah, it did kind of leave me a little bit, but I did rest a fair while. So yeah, I do apologize if I'm a little bit rambling on a bit. It's just a bit slow on processing things, but I have got my coffee here. Delicious. Okay, so this one's actually quite interesting, Euro USD. Now, I really like this because I was able to read between the lines and understand this trade, even though I didn't really get to capitalize on it, and I watched entries literally in the moment, watched the entries fly by me. It wasn't more so about missing the entries and being stuck up on that. It was more so about I actually understood what was happening and what could potentially happen, and the possible and the probable. And because I understood the possible and the probable of this trading, I was able to monitor it in live market conditions. And unfortunately, my reaction wasn't there. So I have been considering, definitely going over my sort of thought process before I take a trade. Like, all the validity was there, the trade was valid. There's still opportunity right now as we speak, but I'm not capitalizing on it for reasons that I need to kind of evaluate. So I'm just going through ASR sort of period where just checking over all my stuff, making sure that I'm as sharp as I can be, and if I need to improve on anything, I'll do that. So I think I will be posting some more backtesting videos as well, because I'll be doing some backtesting live, um, just to kind of keep myself a little bit accountable, go back and review it in a month's time and so forth. So yeah, I think yeah, I've been looking at this one for around about 2.5 weeks now, if not a couple weeks before. We've been trending in this downtrend. There's been an abundance of opportunity on this whole leg down. It's had these it's weird because it's had these patterns on the final bit, which I kind of spotted, and I thought, this could potentially happen here. And if it did happen, I would have got really involved, but unfortunately, I didn't. So we had this first flag. Well, not well, the first off this trend here, channel, and we had this sort of double scoop at the end. Then we came down, we created another one at this pattern. We had this sort of double scoop, came over here, had this double scoop, came over here, we had this small mini double scoop near miss. Then we had another one, double scoop near miss. And then we had double scoop near miss, double scoop near miss. I don't know if you can see that one so clearly, but double scoop near miss. And then we had this touch here. Obviously, it's irrelevant to me. But we had the break of the trend. We didn't get the double scoop near miss. So I think I was too fixated on this little piece of data that I discovered, and I was like, "Oh shit! I've kind of figured out one of the characteristics of this trend." Um, and yeah, I didn't get that double scoop. Maybe I'm too premature right now. Maybe I will get double scoop, but that's what I was looking for. So um, unfortunately, I missed that. But what I did like was, the commitment we had. So if I just refine a little bit lower to, I think 15 is enough. There was a trade in here, and I'll just highlight them actually. So I do like to use the box. So there was one in here. Obviously, there was the larger one here. There was another one over here. There was another one over here. And then it did start to get a little bit messy. So, you got to squeeze the chart ever so slightly to kind of read through that. Obviously, there was one on the phase line as well for Euro USD, but I wasn't really that wasn't really a trade that I was gonna. Well, actually, I did monitor it. It's funny because I watched this one, and this one, and this one, all four of those entries ready. Could have taken a reduced risk as well, but I didn't take any of them, because for unknown reasons. I think it was just psychological at that point. So just kind of mapping up. This is super irrelevant. It doesn't really matter, but that would be around about 10.7. This one, I'm going to take reduced risk on all of them just because it's the safest form of entry, in my opinion. Um, it's not the best in terms of R&R, but it's good in terms of protection. Um, but then again, R&R is what we're here for. So another 5.8, and then this one, I guess, over here. I mean, that's the thing, like, until it's played out, sometimes you just don't know. But in terms of risk reward, in terms of the reduced risk entry, we're looking at roughly around about 15, about 16, around about 21, yeah, about 24% there. But in all truth and honesty, the real trades, in my opinion, were roughly around about here. So this could have easily been taken with 10. This one over here, I think, would have been taken on the retrace over here. Um, Once again, with 10, it's easy, but I think, let's be a little bit extra. Let's just say we took it with about 13 over here. This one, I think, would have definitely been a reduced risk, in my opinion. Would have kept it with about 22. And then over here, I think, with how this formed here, I would have taken the trade probably around about here on the most advanced side of things. And this is like when I'm talking about have a clear mindset, and I'm jumping on this trade with a clear mindset. I think sometimes what I face a lot is when you're in live market conditions and you're involved in something, you don't catch this. So, easily I'm looking at this now like 16 plus 11, which leaves me around about um, 37. no, 16 plus 11 equals, yeah, 37, hope. Um, and then 5.7. So yeah, fucking hell. Yeah, just oh, like wow, honestly, 50 odd percent. Um, I hope. But yeah, so opportunities there, so much opportunity. And then obviously there's more trades in here as well that, could have really been looked into, but I think perhaps maybe I would have taken some losses. I mean, I wouldn't have taken this trade just because of this low. So it's kind of like looking what am I trading into? Am I going to trade into here and it pounces, comes up and does that, bigger flag or whatever. So I was looking for a larger flag here. I was waiting till 10 a.m. Yes, on the Monday over here, which was roughly around about here. So we had some news coming out, which was high impact news, and I knew that price will either create some volatility here. So what I was looking for is this being the high, one, two, well, just one touch over here, and then it very corrective down here, but then it pushes up with impulse and actually comes back up here. And if it did come up here and then we had some sort of 1 hour sort of rejection or something, that's where I would have been inclined. So I did want to see some sort of corrective move back up, but unfortunately we didn't get it. We just committed, pushed down. And I think now that we are in this zone here, we could be creating some sort of large flags. Large flag territory for sure. The thing is, we have a lot of upcoming news as well with the US and Euro. Um, so, I think this is going to play its toll, especially on Friday. We have unemployment rates as well. So there's going to be volatility coming in. Would the volatility be good or bad for this? Well, after reviewing a lot of the news, I think obviously it's going to get priced in now, and then there'll be some additional volatility when some major news comes out. But I definitely think that it's going to be um, it's going to be an interesting one because we might actually get the volatility to actually come to this low. So that's one of the reasons why I think Euro USD is going to be very underrated because it can go two ways. If the volatility plays out in the favor of technicals, we'll move in to potentially this low here, create the double bottom, and then potentially start to reverse. Now, if we can create that in a week, that's going to be fucking insane. Let's just say that we move from where we are now to that low. We're looking at roughly around about 391 candles, sorry, pips, which, um, to be honest, I think that's like that could happen. That could happen very quickly, to be honest. Like I've seen price like that in a day, 2 days at least. Something like this. If we just have a move from where we are now to just let's say we just create something like that, that's more than enough for a week. We're just gonna literally just push into there and then boom. And I think something like that isn't uncommon because after kind of just evaluating these legs here, they're all pretty much the same. We have this correction and then we just impulse and that's it. The phase we're moving to continuation. And this could be the final continuation. I'm a bit upset because I kind of missed this, but I learned from it. And these trends are so profitable. And in the future, I really hope that I can actually experience one of these sort of trades where I can actually get involved. See the structure, see it come to the trend. Okay, I missed the first one, but then I see it reapproach, and then I see the structure, and then I'm like, okay, cool. Evaluate my entry, get into the next one, and then I've really got a chance to like scale in like 4, 5, 6 trades. But management's definitely a difficult one because when I look at this, right, and I look at a trade, for example, here, I think, the odds of me staying in this particular trade is very low because by the time the trade is all the way down here, I probably would have locked in profit around about 2.17%, and I would have been out of the trade anyway, or probably even more aggressive over here. So, I could have been out for 2.73 over there. So I wouldn't really think that I'll hold it all the way back to zero point 0.5, really. I mean, that's poor risk management, in my opinion. So it's one of those ones where I think, I need to get to grips and just really, realize that I'm gonna be in and out of these trades so much anyway. So it's not like I'm gonna have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven trades open all at once, just running profits. Like I think that's a bit of a dream. It's a bit of a reckless sort of hope. But that's it for Euro USD. I'm gonna jump into the next one. GBP Aussie. So GBP Aussie is actually amazing. This is another one where I think perhaps maybe I was just looking for too much. So how I saw it on the higher time frame. is essentially like we had this inflection point here, which met with this low. This is not so significant, but this inflection point was what I was really focused on. How we approached it previously was when we actually got there, we rejected and we started selling off. So I knew that it was a very key area for this particular chart, because if we got there again in the way we were getting there with structure, it's what I liked. I was like, okay, do we get there again? We break it and then we come back in, and that's the golden trade, right? But unfortunately, I didn't get it. Something that was a bit. I don't know. I would say it's definitely a mistrade. It's one that I think I was just looking for too much. I thought I just yeah, it was just me. So really beautiful. Basically had the push down, we had the push up, corrective middle section, push back up, a 1 2 3. Saw the 1 2 3. I was like, great, this is it. We were sitting here literally on Friday. So many people could have capitalized it. Many people probably did, just not me. Um, but I was looking at something like this. So I wanted to see either a corrective squeeze, RO3. So I was waiting for the rule of three. Is it corrective? Is it going to be structural? Or is it going to be impulsive? Now, currently, it was impulsive in a sense, but obviously that it is a quite corrective squeeze there. So I would contemplate that at this point it was kind of 50-50 to me, because up until here, I would say it was corrective, and then we had this strong impulse, and then I'd say, well, if we continued the impulse, then it would have been impulsive. Then we corrected again. So this was a corrective squeeze entirely, even if that was a bit of a structural approach at the end. I would have just considered this corrective entirely, and then looked for a push down on the flag. So I think what I was looking for was really good. I think it was just when it didn't happen, I just kind of sat there like you know, I don't know, like a frozen bat or something. I don't know. But I completely missed it, and I think I missed it because I just I was looking for this. Even though it didn't play out, we do have a trade shaping up right now over here in this section here. I believe this could be like a larger sort of hover over here, but this is a sick trade. I mean, there's more than enough in this trade, and I think looking for perfection at that point, I guess it was, is it's too much to ask for. I think that would have been amazing if that played out. That would have been phenomenal. That would have been amazing, like honestly. But I guess like this is the next best thing. And I think looking at this and evaluating it, would I have really taken a trade in here? Because the charts were open for me. I mean, I could have absolutely entertained something, but I think it would have been very difficult for me to want to take a trade. I mean, if I took a trade, it would have been here. The reward would be somewhat like not great for me at all. Don't think. I think I would have taken some. I wouldn't. Don't know if I would want to take a 52 pip stop loss on that, only to be kind of. I mean, it's just one that I think not really for me. Anyway, that was the trade I was looking for. Didn't get it. Cool. So then going back and looking at it in hindsight, now I look at it here, I'm thinking, okay, would break this low. If we break that low, I'd look for a flag. I didn't get a flag. Go to the 15, then it looks like there's an abundance of opportunity, because I would essentially do this and then say anything below there, I'll be entertaining. Okay, great. So that's my line in the sand. Now I've got my line in the sand. We did have a trade there, but I definitely didn't drill into this time frame. I know that for a fact. Um, could that have been a good trade? Yeah, I mean, not the cleanest, but there's definitely, some sort of section. I guess if I refine to the 5 minute quickly, I guess, and then if I look at it like this, yeah, I mean, then I could probably say like, look, we definitely had some sort of, you know, this being the middle section, um, a 1 2, and then the 3 3, and then the push away. So refinement probably, if I wanted to really say this was an AFT trade, wouldn't know. That would have to be confirmed by someone who actually has more experience. But yeah, I'd be looking at 35 pip stop loss. Um, oops, yeah, 35 pip stop loss regardless. Yeah, I don't know. Really, I'm not too sure about that one. Um, but yeah, that would have been the trade. So I'll just say it wouldn't be easy to see on the 15, neither on the hourly, but definitely on the 5 minute. And yeah, I mean, risk reward wise, that's not bad for a 30 pip stop loss. And then looking at it over here, there was a 15 minute. You could see just literally shaping up there. Could have probably got in around about here. Um, Once again, good risk rewards. I mean, there's so much opportunity. I guess it's just a shame. Like I'm not mentally at that point yet, and I need to really work on it because I want to capitalize on it. I really do, but yes, it's just one of them ones. So need to definitely work on my timing and kind of just evolving mentally because that looking for that perfection, that 1 2 3 over here, that's what really screwed me. Just yeah, forget it. That would have been good, but didn't get it. So anyway, we're shaping up over here. Just going to literally forecast this. Not too sure how this is going to play out. If it's, I need to really kind of sit down and just look at this one. But what I'll be looking at is something a little bit more so like this. Um, maybe there's a line in here, something a little bit more inside, but you know, something more so like this. And then what we do is we kind of just go sidewards, call it a middle section, and then we pull back up, create some sort of something in there. Then we sell, or we don't even have to go there. We call that the override, and we just say, that's that. But something like that, I might be interested in. The hover is definitely looking pretty good. So yeah, so I don't know. It could just sell off from here as well. There's enough there, so yeah, just the hourly's looking good. We definitely have enough there. We could even push down, create this more flatter section, come up halfway, 50%, come back down. Quite a few things. But definitely this is looking good for a short. If I've wanted to really take this, but kind of just only to experience it, I'll probably get involved, probably put a yeah, about 100 pip stop loss, which is not really the best. And then, probably make 2% odd by end of this month. If this does go and we do commit though, and then we start getting that impulsive leg and we start coming down here, it's still 5%. But then, you know, where am I taking this in the middle of nowhere? So if we come back up here, um, and then we do get a trade, I think definitely I could protect myself, even the 35 pip stop loss. That's 15 odd percent there already, to that low. So looking at that alone, that's a much better trade if I'm going to be taking that trade. And then the scale as well, there'll be loads of good trades in there. So definitely going to stay patient with that one. But yeah, so just going to finalize it with New Zealand Swiss and USD CAD. New Zealand Swiss, I think still going to be patient with this one. I'm looking at this corrective squeeze. So this one I don't really have much to say. It's a pretty simple trade, just a patient one. All I want to see is this corrective leg get broken. I think we're looking at some other New Zealand pairs. It's looking like it could just be a long squeeze, but when it does just push impulsively, I'll look for that and then sell in. Looking at the New Zealand yen as well, look, we definitely have some sort of squeeze in momentum so across the board. So I'll definitely keep that on watch because it can turn around really quickly. Definitely if I left it for next week as well, if it does break, then it'll be much better because I don't have to take up one of my watches. But this would ideally give me a lot of opportunity. I think looking on the 1 hour as well, this doesn't look like it's the sell yet. It still looks pretty corrective, but there's a lot of opportunity for the purchases. And I think, especially with New Zealand pairs, it's something that I've learned over time now that when they do correct upwards, it presents a lot of opportunity. You just have to be able to read between the lines. And for example, like we know that that's the override. Now, I'm just going to quickly just pop these on. And you got, oops, wrong one. Always use the wrong one. So let's just take this as one trade. Okay, take that as the reduced risk. Then we take another one. Where would we take another one? So we'd see this. We don't know that this trend is the trend at this point. So actually, do you know what? I'm going to do a backtesting video on New Zealand Swiss after this, but yeah, so yeah, or a New Zealand pair, any New Zealand pair. But yeah, so essentially, yeah, just gonna wait for the push down and a flag. And last but not least, my favorite pair, which I've made no money from, is USD CAD. So USD CAD is looking phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. It's exactly what we want. So essentially, what's happening is we have this sort of inflection zone, but how we've got there is we've moved very impulsively. Now we've broken it, but then we started to correct, but we haven't corrected in terms of a reversal at this point. We've actually corrected in terms of a continuation pattern. So I'm seeing this as the double bottom low. We have a 1, 2, potential 3. Will we come to that 3? Not too sure, but definitely this override is one that I'll be looking at. So essentially, what I'm seeing right now is we had this 4-hour rejection. Now, the way I wanted to play it was push up. We created this as a flag. We didn't come to this low. We pushed up, and then I was looking at this as a 1, 2, squeeze like this. Essentially, we didn't get that neither. So looking at it on the higher time frame, what did we actually get? So if we take this as the high and we look on the 1 hour, we actually had a evening star. We look on the 4 hour, we actually had a rejection, like a full body candle engulfing rejection. So there's no surprise that we're coming back down to this low. That was a good indication that we should actually be going short and not long. However, I was looking for continuation, breaking above the line in the sand, creating continuation, and we go. But unfortunately, we couldn't commit with that continuation, which is completely fine. It's one of those ones where you know you could go short for the counter trend, but I think going long is the better play. So I think having USD CAD on watch this week is going to be really good because essentially all I've got to do now is wait for the push down or even the tap in and then the flag, and then we go. And I think that is the cool play. So essentially, yeah. And then obviously if we do push lower and we go um, that way, so it's just that simple. That's all it is, which is obviously not even a problem either. So not really fast because if we do start selling on this particular pair, we've got a long way down. Massive, massive, massive earning potentials either way. So, but I'm not convinced with the short. I'm convinced with the purchase just because of the middle section, nice little pattern. So I'm just going to be patient with that. We'll stay a little bit neutral on this one because we can still, well, we are in that corrective squeeze, and that's something that I think is super important. So just staying very very focused that we're in this corrective squeeze. We can still correct until we've broken out of this correction. I wouldn't say we're going long. So corrective, corrective, we can still correct further down the line. We can still correct like this and then catch people out, create false flags, whatnot. It doesn't matter because then this can actually become something a little bit different, and then we might actually say, oh, in hindsight we thought it was sort of more flatter, but in fact it was more so like this. And then the expanding becomes more probable towards a reversal. But see that, and then would it come up here? We're not too sure, but it can create more patterns. And at the end of it, we'll be weeks and months away, and we'll be like, okay, that is something we were kind of looking at. So that is something that I will be looking at. But for USD CAD, that's basically it. And yeah, I don't think I'm really going to go much into the other pairs. I mean, I think there's still some good opportunities on the table for these. I think definitely keep your eye on a few of them. Crude oil being one. I think crude oil is going to be a very nice pair when it does eventually potentially shape up. Um, there was a 1, 2, 3 inside here, but this isn't the pattern I was looking for. I know a few of the other people I was speaking to took this trade. Well done for that, but I think that's an inside trade towards the bigger trade. So this is definitely enough for it to continue. But I think if I'm going to be taking a trade, my trade's going to be here. But yeah, so but yeah, cool. So that's it for basically my watch for this week. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a little break, then do some back testing, and then I'll post up a back testing video shortly later. Take care.